Hey everyone, Singletrack Samurai here. I had the opportunity to participate in the inaugural Mega Mid-South, which was a 300-mile conglomeration of all the routes they have done over the past 10 years. Bobby Wintle and District Bicycles do an outstanding job of creating and facilitating an experience. It's not just an event, it's an experience. You get there and you just feel like you're part of the family. It's truly magical. If you have not been to the Mid-South, they have an event in March. Registration is open. You should definitely go. If it's in your means and experience that event, it's 1000% worth it. If you just want to hear the short recap, I'll tell you right now, I did successfully finish the 300-mile route. I finished in 71 hours and 2 minutes. If that's all you need, you can turn the video right off right now and you can go about your day. If you want to hear the full story, the whole enchilada, then sit tight. I've been itching to just challenge myself. It's part of my personality. And when I heard about the Mega Mid-South, it was a wonderful opportunity for me to do exactly just that. I had already committed myself to participating in another crown series that I created for the local Florida bikepacking community called the Quadruple Crown, which is riders have to finish 4 big dirt road focused rides in season, which is from October to May. So the rides are the Tango Light, the King's Road, the Alusty Overlander, and the Huracan Light. So I already committed to doing that, so I needed some tune-up events to kind of get me ready, and the Mid-South really fit the bill. Plus, when they hold the event, I'm not able to attend because March is busy season here. So doing the 20-hour drive out there to do 300 miles seemed 1000% worth it. I saw on the list that Gary Coors, local rider, 36er Gary, he rides a real giant bike. You may have seen him on Instagram. It's 36er Gary on Instagram. If you haven't, you should follow him. Super nice guy. I saw he was going, so I hit him up, and our plans aligned, and we were off. It took us a day and a half to get there. For us combined, it was 20 hours of driving total. We got to District Bicycles, and Bobby welcomed us with open arms. I met Bobby at the TNGA. He was already done with his ride. We were kind of taking it easy, just touring the TNGA route, and I was halfway done when we met each other. He was super nice and comforting then, shared his whiskey with me, which is a good way to make fast friends, and we had a great conversation that day, and he still remembered me and kind of just picked right up where we left off the last time we saw each other and had some quick conversations. I checked out the store, took a bunch of cool photos, beautiful shop. They do a real great job there. The atmosphere was fantastic. We went back to our hotel, got our stuff ready, got the bikes set up, and then went to the meet and greet that they had at the Stone something brewery, right next to the Empire Pizza joint, which the pizza was excellent. I saw a couple more riders that I had seen recently, some folks from Philly Bike Expo, some riders that had come to the Huracan 300 route, and I conversated with them, and then I hung out with Bobby and his squad for a bit, and then we went to bed early. I was being a good boy. I was really focused. I was performance focused. My initial goal going into this was to try to finish this ride in 48 hours. So that morning came, and we got to the start line. Good morning, everybody. Singletrack Samurai. I am at the start. We have just a few minutes before we get rolling out. I'm going to try to do updates every 50 miles or so. I'll get an update done soon. Bobby said a few words. That guy really knows how to say some inspiring stuff.
Thank you so much for all of you for coming. We had no idea what to expect when we decided to actually make this a thing. And year one, minimal time putting it together, minimal time for planning, and look at how many of you showed up. So seriously, give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here.
We had a couple of other riders who helped contribute to the ride, say a few words, and then
welcome to Stillwater. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I didn't really prepare any remarks. I'm just glad to be here. To see you all. This feels like it's out. So welcome. Thank you, and sorry about the extra 50 miles, but that does make it an ultra. And there's a lot of people out here riding their first ultra. Can we just see the hands of the people doing that for the first time? That's like most of the people here. So those extra 50 miles, while they're gonna hurt.
And then we were off. And what a great start it was. It really reminded me of riding in the Florida Northern Highlands. The entire route did. Even cutting through the park and dropping below the underpass kind of reminded me of Tallahassee. So it was kind of interesting in that regard, because what it did, although it looked familiar, what it did was it made me feel comfortable. So I didn't feel like I was way out of my comfort zone. I felt in the zone. And that's what I did. I stayed in my zone, stayed in my lane. I focused on a steady effort, got through the first rest stop at mile marker 28 or so.
Hey there everybody, Singletrack Samurai, good morning again. It's been about 29 miles. We started after 8 sometime. You probably know better than I do when we started. Things are going great. Everything's on plan. My next stop for water, I just did my first water stop at 28. My next one's at 68. My plan is to take it easy during the day and then try to take advantage of the night. They said it was supposed to be hot, but it's been pretty nice, so onward and forward.
I kind of noticed that I barely had enough water to get there. It was heating up quickly. The heat in Oklahoma is way hotter than you would think it is. It's way hotter than Florida. It is ridiculous. And it was apparent because by the time we reached the next rest stop at around mile marker 60 something, Kearney, that place should be called Carnage. I saw people vomiting from heat exhaustion. A couple of riders dropped out at that spot. I mean, 100K in roughly, and riders were dropping out. I noticed that I was slowly getting behind on water at each rest stop. And what I should have done at that point was carry extra water. Start carrying extra water, just not be lazy. But I didn't. I was foolish. I felt good, so I kept pushing. And I ate some food and I took off. I had carried all the food I needed from the start. That was my strategy. I only bought cold drinks at the stores. I pretty much stuck to that strategy. This was the only item I purchased, and this was on the next to last day, around 10:50 p.m. I purchased this item to mix it with my beans and for my burritos that I was making trailside. I still have it. It's technically not even empty, so I didn't even eat it the whole way. Other than that, what I bought was just sodas and water. Lots of soda, lots of water. I pushed on and kept going into
Good evening, everybody. Singletrack Samurai. I've officially covered 100 miles. It is 7:54 p.m. It got pretty hot. Otherwise, the course has been a lot of fun. A lot of people have dropped out because of the heat. My plan is to just keep going until I need a break. So enjoy the cool air. That's the plan. Let's see what happens.
Going into the night, we got to watch the moon rise together. Group of us kind of together. I was with Bobby and his squad. He was riding with about 5 riders. We ended up at the Cimarron Bridge together, which was initially my plan A goal. My plan A goal was to camp at that bridge, which was at mile 120, I think it was, something like that. That was my initial plan, to camp at that bridge. Instead, I sat there, I ate, I made some coffee while Bobby and his crew hung out there as well with me. It was great kind of to hang out all together. That was really nice. In retrospect, I should have just laid down and rested like they were doing, but I was still feeling good, so I took off. I ended up running out of water, and I had to go off route to the Cowboy Travel Plaza. I went there and got water and decided after 150 miles that I was just going to sleep a few hours and then get up and start going back at it when the sun rose. And that's what I did. I went off into the bushes. Way in the back, I looked at the satellite images, and there was some good grass back there. I laid my stuff down. I didn't need to set up my tent because there were no bugs, so I just laid right on the ground on my tarp and my mattress, and I tried to sleep. My watch says I slept, but I felt like I didn't sleep at all. So that wasn't great. When I woke up that morning, I had a slight cramp in my thigh, but I didn't think anything of it. I got up, I fueled, I left. Got on down the road. Things were going okay.
How cool is that?
The heat came back. I was feeling pretty good at that point. Thinking that I could maybe finish by 3:30 in the morning again, because that's when I stopped riding that first day.
Good morning, everybody. Singletrack Samurai. I've been slacking on the updates. I've done almost 150 miles. I slept behind a closed down gas station. I found a spot in the grass. That's where I slept. And I'm hoping to finish tomorrow morning, maybe 3 or 4 in the morning. Today's Thursday right now. It is 8:05 a.m. Let's see how it goes. Maybe it'll be faster than yesterday.
But the cramps I was having started getting worse. So I was sitting in the shade pondering what I should do, because these cramps that I'm getting, they're not like muscle cramps from fatigue. They're like my hands are locking up, my toes are locking up. To me, it's a clear indication that I'm starting to get heat exhaustion. What ends up happening after that is all my muscles start locking up, and then I'll start vomiting if I'm still consuming food, if I'm able to even take stuff down, and then it just goes downhill from there. I'll just be laid out. Knowing that that was what was starting to happen, knowing that I had 30 miles to go and only about 50 ounces of water before the next town, and the next town just had stores, no sleep accommodations, I decided to go off route to Lake McNarty and see maybe about getting a campsite. When I got there, the cramps were progressively getting worse, so I did not think that a campsite was a good idea. So I decided to hail an Uber to try to get to the closest hotel, which was 10 miles away, and perhaps get into a room, get cool, get clean, get rested, get fed, eat salty food, ride in pain from the cramps. Local person who works there was able to give me a lift. His name is Mark. He gave me a lift to a seedy hotel on the edge of town. I chose the hotel, he didn't. And it was fine. The hotel didn't have to be fancy. I just needed those things. I got in my room. I jumped in the shower with all my clothes on because I was covered in dirt from head to toe. It was just very dry and very sandy. I cleaned my clothes like that and got in bed, and sure enough, the cramps came on in full force. I was drinking water, staying cool, going through bouts of extreme cramping, diaphragm locking up, neck muscles locking up, hands locking up, feet locking up, thighs locking up. Eventually I got it together to get my clothes and run it through the washing machine. I ordered an extra large pizza. I ate that. And then I decided I'm going to get up at 2 a.m. and take off. Well, I got up at 2 a.m., still cramping, didn't take off. Woke up at 4 a.m., still felt very tired, so I rested more. Finally, at 6 a.m., I got up, I hailed an Uber, I ate, and got out of there. It was 10 miles back to the route. I jumped right back on where I left off.
What's up, what's up? Carlos!
And took off down the route and pushed at a steady pace. I was already at a deficit from having to go through heat exhaustion, so I could only go at 50 or 60% of my normal effort, where normally I could push 70 to 80%. Didn't have that in me because I knew I was already at a deficit. I already was dehydrated. In like 48 hours, I had only urinated like once or twice, so I was not in a good way. But I was persistent on wanting to finish. I just did not see quitting as an option. I wanted to be able to get home, and to me, the only way to get home was to finish the route. I kept going down the route. People started passing me. I didn't let it bother me. It's just part of the game. I just kept going and going. I survived the heat of the day, but it came at a cost. By the time that the cool air had come and the night had come, I was punch drunk. I remember I was pushing my bike up a hill and falling asleep and pushing my bike. Now the route is only 12% pavement, and most of that 12% is either overpasses or bridges, or when you get close to town there's pavement. Other than that, it's just dirt. So I found an overpass over the highway, and I laid down on the concrete for a little bit right in the road. Slept for about 40 minutes before I had to get up and jump off the road because a car was coming. I needed water, though. Again, I was down. I was in that situation where I didn't have enough water, even though I was carrying extra at that point. Did not have enough water to make it to the next store, or barely enough to make it to the store, and I knew it was going to close at 10. So I also saw there was a highway interchange on my GPS map, on my unit, my head unit. So I have noticed up to that point that there's always like a convenience store or a travel plaza near those stops. So I looked on Google, and yes, there was a store there. It was a mile off route, but I could make it. So I rode to that store, got there around 9:45 p.m. on Friday, and I started fueling. I drank a bunch of liquids, ate a bunch of food, took a nap, and sometime a little after midnight, I got my stuff together and I left again. And this time it was 40 miles to go to the finish, so I was determined. I had my legs again, I had power again, so I kept the pace steady and strong. I made it to Glencoe, where a fellow rider named Jacob had left some water. He had messaged me via Instagram and let me know he left some water for me because he thought I was going to try to make it there, which I still went there and topped off my bottles because, again, technically I'm still behind on water, so I want to just fill up. I got that water in me and then got ready, and I made the final push into Stillwater. Once I was like a mile or two away from the finish, I stopped. I zipped up my jersey, make sure my hat was on straight, make sure I cleaned my face, and then I rode as fast as I could into town just to try to finish strong. And I rolled across the finish line at 7:11, got a huge welcoming party from Bobby and the camera crew. Man, they made me feel like a champion. I was so happy to be done. I thought for sure I was DFL, dead last, but I was not. There was other people who were still out on course who still probably had about a day left to get there. So that's true. Day left to get there. So mission accomplished. I finished the ride, and it was magnificent. I highly recommend, if you can put the Mega Mid-South on your radar, to go experience either the 300-mile route or just that 100-mile route that they put on every year in March. It's totally worth it. It's an outstanding community with outstanding people, and that's the story. If you stayed and watched it till the end, I truly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.